And welcome back. Yesterday was the September meeting of GRF. I should note their regular monthly meeting. There's been a lot of meetings for all the boards this past month, and this one took place yesterday, and we'll bring it to you again in replay tomorrow at 1:30 and then next week. And it was a long one. I think it was about 3 hours and 5 minutes or so, give or take.
Yes.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, all right. A lot was discussed. One of those things that came up, and I think we saw, if you watched yesterday, a lot of members in the audience who had questions and concerns about the club liability insurance.
Yes.
And you had Scott Dunham was down there to explain it. You explained it, but you're here today to talk about that again, because there was some misconceptions about it.
Yes. Nothing has changed. It's always been a requirement that the clubs carry their own insurance, or at least that they understand that they have a liability when they rent a facility. Mm-hmm. GRF takes full responsibility for anything that might cause a problem that the facility itself causes. Mm-hmm. But if a club or an individual who rents it does something that causes an injury, it is the club or the individual who is liable for that injury. And so all that GRF did on the advice of the attorney and risk management was spell it out in the reservation policy agreement that the clubs and individuals sign when they rent a facility, so that they understand that there is a liability. The clubs reading this felt that this was a new policy. It isn't, and and we have no control over how the insurance industry looks at liability. You know, I'm well aware of it in real estate. Whenever there's a lawsuit, they name everyone. Right. Even here, whenever there's a lawsuit, they name all of the corporations, and you find yourself having to get dismissed from the case when you've been named incorrectly in a lawsuit. Mm-hmm. And the same can happen with anyone that rents a facility. If there is a lawsuit that comes out of that rental, they're going to name everybody. They're going to name GRF, they're going to name the individuals, they're going to name the club, mm-hmm. and then you're going to have to prove that you were wrongly named and step out. And to do that, you have to have an attorney. And if you have insurance, your insurance pays for it. If you don't have insurance, you're going to have to pay for it personally. And we were just letting people know that this is their responsibility and you should be aware of it. And they're having a hard time with it.
I think one of the questions yesterday that came up, and maybe you can elaborate on this, even for the people that understood about the liability, they were asking for us to rent a facility from now on, are we required to have insurance and show proof of insurance, or simply are we signing something that says we're responsible? If we want to get insurance, that's fine. If we don't, well, you're still responsible.
Right now, nobody checks to see that they have insurance.
Okay.
We're not saying that this is what you have to do. What we're saying is you have to recognize that there is liability here. And we advise you to get insurance, but we can't force you to buy insurance.
Okay.
That's your decision.
Another question that came up yesterday, and I forget which club asked this, but it was somebody who was a member of 2 or 3 different clubs, something like that. And they said, is it, the question was sort of framed as, well, can 3 or 4 or 5, 6 clubs go in together and get coverage all together? And I believe one of the answers was, well, you can look into that. You know,
right.
We're not insurance people here.
Right. We did actually ask Scott that yesterday afternoon, and he said, although it's not impossible, you would have to have quite a number of clubs, and it would still, for a broker to do that, would probably be $300 to $500 per club to make it worth their while to do it. You have to be a fairly large organization to be able to get that kind of insurance.
Okay.
So, although they're welcome to look into it, he wasn't very encouraging to us about the possibility of doing that.
Okay. All right. Very good. Yesterday during the chairman's report, you went into a little bit more detail about the recreation plan. One of the things you really elaborated on, and so did Director Souza, is there's been a lot of talk, as there has been, about not getting the information out and things like that. And both you and Director Souza both elaborated, saying the information has been going out there. Now, if you want to disagree with the way things are done, that's your option. But basically, disagree on what the truth is, not what the rumors are.
Exactly. We have bent over backwards to make the information available to anyone who wants it. We have the plans, the Recreation Master Plan, Alternative 3, the PowerPoint presentation that we've been doing is on the website. We've had presentations throughout the community, at least on a monthly basis. We attend different club meetings and give the presentation. We repeatedly invite people to come to the Recreation Ad Hoc Committee meetings and voice their opinions and give us ideas on what they would like to see. The people that are against this plan, for whatever reason, whatever their agenda is, they come, they speak against it, and they leave. They don't really know what they're speaking against because they don't sit through a presentation to see what is going on. They're simply against. And, that's something that we see a lot at meetings. The same people come, and no matter what you're talking about, the same people say no to it, regardless of what it is. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, it's no. And so, all we ask is that if you have any interest at all in knowing what is going on, to make the effort to either come to a meeting, go on the internet. We're showing the presentation on TV6 3 times in the next week. So it's available for anyone who wants to know the truth.
Okay. There's a lot of parts to that plan, and
Yes.
as you said yesterday, as did the other directors, it's in flux still.
Yes.
You're looking at all parts of it, even to the point of about the fitness center that is proposed over right next to us here, next to the community building here on those pads up there. And you wanted to see that even once it gets built, how long that maybe the Clubhouse 1 Fitness Center will be open in conjunction with that. And even that's in flux as well.
Yes. The plan says that it will be centralized fitness. We know that the fitness center on the 3rd floor of this building will definitely go over there. The plan is to move Clubhouse 1 Fitness to there. But realistically, that fitness center, the centralized fitness, won't even be ready to open for at least 3 years. Those of us on the board now won't be there.
Right.
That's the reality of the situation. And what a future board decides to do with Clubhouse 1 3 years down the road is really up to a future board. We believe, and RBF told us this as well, the consultant, that if you do centralized fitness and you have a nice facility, the others will die a natural death if you don't close them right away, because people will want to go to the new upgraded facility. And we really believe that. So if in their wisdom 3 years from now the board decides to leave Clubhouse 1 open for a while and let it and phase it out, that's their choice. But I do believe that ultimately it will be closed.
Okay. One other question that someone brought up yesterday was about the main lounge over the main lounge plan, which is the Clubhouse 2 plan, so to speak. And they actually, one of their suggestions was, which sounded like a very good suggestion, it was done by Denise Welch. She said, when this is built, I hope the foresight can be seen to have a type of foundation that if you wanted to add another floor to that, you could. And it was brought up that while you certainly could make the foundation to hold another floor, there are city codes that prevent you from doing it. There's a certain height limit.
Yes, as is the building that we have projected, even though it looks like a one-story building from the front in the parking lot, they measure the height of the building from the bottom of the building, which is the lower floor, and we're a few feet higher than the maximum height, and we will have to go for a variance on that, so they would never allow us to go up another story. So it would be throwing good money after bad to reinforce the foundation to handle 3 stories when we know in advance that we could not do that.
Okay, much like the Village Greens. You look
Yes.
at it, it looks like a single story, it really isn't.
Right.
Okay,
right.
so they actually measure from down below, not the elevated portion of the parking lot in that area.
Yeah, you would think it would be from the front where you see it and it looks like one story. No.
All right, well, as I said, this meeting ran about 3 hours and 3 hours and 6 minutes, something like that. We're going to replay that for you tomorrow at 1:30 on Thursday, and then next week, again, Wednesday at 6 p.m. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think we covered just about everything.
All right, very good. Nice to see you again.
You too. Thank you.
All right, folks, we'll be right back in just a moment.